Happy Friday! Today we're going to do something a little different. Today my garden here in Bocas del Toro is in beautiful bloom. We have so many gorgeous ornamentals and food plants that are ready to go right now, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to kind of take you through a stroll through our gardens and through our food forest and show you some of the things we have growing here at Ojo Bio in Bocas del Toro. Before we get started, make sure you click subscribe if you like videos like this. We bring you videos every Friday of anything and everything all over Panama. You never know what kind of crazy we're going to come up with. So click subscribe, hit notify, and if you want to talk about this topic or anything else Panama, make sure you join us over at the I Go Panama Facebook group, also linked below. All right, let's get started on a little tour of Ojo Bio. Okay, I'm really proud of this guy. These are my bamboo orchids, and I planted them from little tiny cuttings from my neighbor, and now they're about 5 feet high and in beautiful bloom. I need a bigger clump of them. It'll be much more dramatic, but I'm pretty pleased with the way these guys look right now. Now, I'm standing outside. There's Brian. Wave hi, Brian. I'm standing outside of our Airbnb unit, this one right here. So if you stay at our Airbnb, you will come right out that door, and there's Brian again, and be facing the ocean here. You can't really see the ocean very well from here. You might be able to see it a little bit through the trees over here. This is all mangrove forest. And these two trees here, let me show you which ones. So if you stay with us, you know where to look. Okay, this tree right here that splits into two, and this tree here next to it, those are our sloth trees. So we have sloths in those trees very regularly, often with babies. So if you stay with us, make sure you come out here every day and check in those trees. This beautiful plant is a swamp mallow. It's in the hibiscus family. And again, I took this about 2.5 years ago off of just tiny cuttings, just little sticks from my friend who lives fairly close to here. And now it's this massive bush that blooms year-round. This is my Brazilian plume. Again, from a tiny cutting about 2 years ago, it has grown into this magnificent plant. If I take you back through here, I love this garden so much. If I take you back through here, you see this tree all the way up there? It's probably about 12 feet high. That's an avocado tree from a pit that I threw out of the door one day. So that's the kind of stuff that happens around here. These are my torch gingers, and you can see just how big, lush, and jungly they are. I love these things. And these are the flowers that you get on the torch ginger. The awesome thing though is the petals are edible. And literally, to me, they taste like Asia. They just have this astonishing flavor to them that I absolutely love. Let me take you down and show you some of my other varieties. Okay, same plant, torch ginger, different variety. This is my pink cluster here. It's gorgeous, also edible, just huge. I love this part of the garden. And over here, Brian is standing next to the red torch ginger to just show you how big these torches get. And just look at that beauty. Just a magnificent flower. All right, let's head back to the main path and we'll show you some more things. Look at this stunning flower. You might recognize it, especially if you look underneath here. These are banana flowers, except these are only ornamental. You can't eat, well, you can eat these pink ones, but the problem is they're full of seeds. So we have these plants growing everywhere because the birds love them. When they're ripe, they split open on their own. The birds get in there, eat them, and spread the seeds all over the property. So just beautiful pink bananas. I absolutely love this plant. It's kind of central, like I'll be in the shadow, but when you come down the front garden, the path splits and it's at the focal point of that. And Brian is putting his hand in front of this little guy. You've got to recognize that. It's a little pineapple. This is actually an ornamental pineapple. So like the bananas, not edible, but super cute. This is my bumper crop of Persian shield, a beautiful ornamental plant that again started with I think we started with 3 small cuttings of this, and it has spread like wildfire in this kind of dappled shade area. Gorgeous plant. Over here, I have a type of turmeric blooming. The guys have chopped recently, so they kind of cut them a little bit, but if you see in there, you can see these beautiful flowers. This is another ornamental. So there is turmeric you can eat. Mine died. I've got to try again. But this is actually just an ornamental turmeric. All right, so we took the path from the top of where the Airbnb is down on the left path, and that will take us to the dock path. And we just have this magnificent, what were these trees called again, Brian?
Sangria.
Sangria trees. Absolutely fabulous. This is one of my most favorite trees on the entire property. From here, if you turn left, you'll go down to our dock through our gorgeous mangrove forest. And I have some more ornamentals over here. This is one of my babies. This is an alocasia that has actually been doing really well in the ground for over a year. I'm pretty pleased with it. This is another one, another exotic that I bought. I forget the name of it, but it's doing really well as well. And here we are at the bottom of the front garden. So you can see just how lush it is. I mean, there's way more plants than I'm showing you guys. Believe me, there's a zillion in here. These are a really unique species of elephant ear. This gorgeous dark green, just absolutely beautiful. I mean, the leaves are huge. That's massive. And right now we're in luck because they're flowering and we have some new leaf growth coming on, and you can see another of the flowers here. The sun is shining through the front garden now. It's late afternoon. And these are begonias. I planted from one tiny little plant. I didn't have much hopes of them surviving because I normally think of them as a house plant. But in this kind of dappled shade area, they have taken off and are doing just beautifully. This vine is the talk of the town. When we first purchased this property, one of the first things a lot of people would ask us is that pepper vine still there? Because it thrives. You see all of these? Guys, that is peppercorns. So you pull them off the plant and dry them. Oh, Brian, we need to take some to Isabel tomorrow. You pull them off the plant, dry them, grind them up in your little pepper grinder, and you have fresh pepper from your own pepper vines. We have a ton of interesting and unusual palm species on the property. I cannot even begin to name any of them, unfortunately, unless a coconut is on it. But this is one of the huge ones just outside our bodega. This is the other trail that we'll take here in a minute that goes up, back up to the buildings. Here is some pink ornamental ginger. So that's a little bit of a different variety of ginger. We have several varieties of ginger here on the property. Oh, and let me not forget to show you this. This got a little bit mauled by something, but you can see what's happening there. Yep, we grow our own pineapple here at Ojobio. Now when you're growing pineapple, you have the top crown, this part here, and then you have these little sucker plants that grow around the bottom. Pineapples can take up to 2 years to fruit, but if you take these little suckers, you can get fruit within about a year. So it really cuts the time off. I also grow a few types of herbs here at Ojobio. This is a Cuban oregano or a Mexican oregano. I forget which one it is. It's oregano. And then over on the other side, it just grows wild in different places, is one of Panama's main spices, which is this stuff right here called culantro. It sounds like cilantro and it tastes like cilantro too. But this is culantro. Cilantro needs much cooler temperatures to grow in. The culantro though will grow in the tropics. This gorgeous Heliconia at the end of the path that goes out into the other gardens is in magnificent bloom right now. Just look at that. Absolutely spectacular. I love the mature gardens here. And as we get up off of the cement path back into our next set of gardens, here you can see another type of palm. This one I actually do know the name of. We have two sets of them. One there and one over here. And you can see that beautiful red color on the trunks. Those are lipstick palms. This is our creek through here, which is dry right now because I'm filming this at the end of April and it's definitely dry season. But these large elephant ear looking plants that grow along the creek, these are what the locals call Dasheen. It's a root vegetable. You may know it by the name Taro. So we can harvest and eat these. Now we did have a lot of mature plants on the property when we moved here, but I have planted a lot as well. This tree here, I cannot remember the name of it. I'll put it in the video. I grew from a teeny tiny tree, teeny. And now you can see that just a couple years later, it's big. And its twin is over here on the other side. It's growing more up, whereas this one is bushing a bit more. Now here you can see our Thunbergia arch. So Brian built me a metal structure that goes up and around, and it has two flower boxes at the end where I planted, I think in each one I put 3 or 4 Thunbergia cuttings that I had about 2 years ago, and it has completely filled in this arch and is just stunning now. And it's our entrance to the next part of the garden I want to show you. All right, so we just walked through the Thunbergia trellis into the next portion of our garden. This area here, this flat part, we call Bariba Flats. That's because we have Bariba trees here. What is a Bariba tree, you might ask? Well, it's probably the most delicious fruit that if you've never had it and you don't come here or where it's grown, you probably never will. See if we can find some. These guys, they have really, really interesting flowers. Here's one. See this weird 3-lobed kind of thing? That's what the fruit grows out of. That's the flower. And when they're ripe, this one will be ready to pick tomorrow, they turn yellow. And the birds wait for them. The birds love them. So we have to beat the birds to the Bariba. And normally they beat us. This tree produces year-round. The fruit has a lemony, pineapple-y, yogurty custard type texture to it. It's absolutely fantastic out of the refrigerator. It tastes like a yogurt or a custard. Amazing stuff. Oh, and so the tree that's producing fruit now, this was here, but the one here and the one here, I planted from seed. And now they're, what do you think, Brian, 15 feet?
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, 12 to 15 feet in about a little over 2 years. This tree here and this tree here are my jackfruit. How big are my jackfruit? 20?
Those are closer to 20.
Closer to 20?
Like, 15.
Maybe that one's 15. This one's really taking off. My jackfruit I planted from a tiny plant about, again, 2 years ago. We've only been here 2.5. And we had to plant more jackfruit because we have a mature jackfruit back here in this part of the food forest. It's this tree here. It produces jackfruit, but they're all bad. So the tree has always produced bad fruit, so we planted some new ones. Okay, this tree in front of me right here is a really special tree. and it's a really special time right now because it's blooming. This is a ylang ylang tree, and it's a tree that some of the most famous perfumes in the world are made from the flower extracts from it. These are the flowers, fairly nondescript. I mean, they're not like these amazingly gorgeous flowers, but oh my God, if we had smell-o-vision, you would be in heaven right now. These things are amazing. So we have this tree, and we have one more, except the leafcutter ants chomped it down, so we don't have any flowers on it this year. Hopefully next. We're in for a treat. I wasn't sure if we were going to have any because I haven't walked down here in quite a while, but there are our famous red bananas. These are edible, and they are amazing. We have, I think, 4 types of edible bananas on the property. Yeah, those are just so sweet. You can see these are at the end of our property. You can see the fence line here. Okay, officially this isn't a part of a garden because it's not a plant, but these trees are the home of a colony of a really cool species of bat, and they live here year-round. Try to zoom in. We don't disturb them. Look how cute he is. You waving hi? Say subscribe to the I Go Panama YouTube channel. Just cute. This gorgeous tree is a rambutan tree. I will put a picture in here so you can see what a rambutan fruit looks like if you're not familiar. Unbelievably delicious. Last year we had a bumper crop. I don't even know how many pounds we took off of this thing. What do you think?
I have no idea.
50 pounds at least.
I would say so.
At least. They only fruit every other year though, so we're out of luck this year. Now if we head up this way, and we turn through here, we're going to come to 3 trellises that Brian and I planted from seed, and I'll show you what we have growing there. So here's the first of 3 trellises that Brian and I made about 2.5 years ago with construction grid. This first one you see is kind of sparse. That's because I had green beans growing on it. They're not producing now because they're not getting enough water, but boy, when they do, fantastic green beans. The next 2 are my passion projects, quite literally. And here is the fruit of my passion project, quite literally. Passion fruit, maracuyá. And it makes unbelievably beautiful flowers. Let me pull this down. There's a little pollinator on there right now. Check that out. So these passion fruit were grown from seed that I bought just at the market, just fruit for us to eat, and I planted the seeds. So you can see when you're underneath, you're under just this mesh of passion. Whoa, bird. We need to come through and clean this out a little bit and trim it up. And the last one, this one's not producing right now. This is another type of passion fruit. It's called Granadilla, and it's the largest of all the passion fruits. And the Granadilla get about as big as a papaya. Oh my God, guys, we're so lucky. Oh my God, look. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Almost better than, no, I think better than a Granadilla. Wow. Okay, I've gotten through the Granadilla trellis here, and just if you look up toward the top of our property, kind of toward the middle of our property is up here. We have a line of citrus trees, orange trees up there. We have a mangosteen tree, which is called the queen of fruits and is one of the most expensive fruits you can buy by the pound. Fantastic tasting, very unusual, mature, produced a lot last year and is getting ready to go again. We have soursop, also called guanabana, up there. We just harvested 2 today. Big ones, beautiful, delicious fruit. We have mango up there. We have a crop of yucca, which is another root crop that we grow up there that's very popular here in Panama. So we have a lot of food going up into that food forest. This vine was taken from a cutting from my neighbor, and we're waiting for it to bloom eventually. It has wound its way up this tree into the network of other vines and epiphytes. This is vanilla. So when it blooms and makes the beans, we'll be able to make vanilla. This is one of the saddest and most remarkable trees on our property. So if you look in here, you can see there's a big trunk in there. This was our magnificent mature avocado tree that a little over a year ago was absolutely laden with about 500 or more beautiful avocados. And a windstorm came through and blew the tree. Oh, rainstorm came down.
26 inches in 30 hours.
Oh yeah, that's right. Took our tree down with it. But look how much growth in a year. I mean, how big is that, Brian? 25 feet? 20? 20 feet in like a year. So hopefully we'll have avocados again soon. This little building is our cacao drying hut. We have an orchard up on the wild side that you actually pass through when you take the trail of about 150 cacao trees. We harvest cacao here definitely once a year. Around October, November is the big harvest, and then we usually do one more little one. We ferment the beans, we dry the beans, and then we sell the beans to the co-op here. So these are compost piles back here, and someone threw a papaya into the compost and a seed was there, and this within a year, this is less than a year. This is 6 months. This is 6 months because this wasn't growing here. Yeah, so this is 6 months. This huge papaya tree, and I mean, look at the trunk on that thing. And it's already fruiting. So we'll have papaya soon. We just noticed this and it's funny. So in our compost piles, like you can see in this one, to hold up the, like this one we used metal, and these we just took sticks that we just chopped and then just used them as poles. And here we did it as well. So you can see here's a stick. There's a stick for that corner. There's a stick for this corner. This stick we stuck in the ground and it said, "Oh no you don't," and has turned into a tree that's about 10 feet tall. That is growing in the tropics. That is how it's done. It's amazing how we can just cut a stick of something and it just will grow. Here's yet another type of banana that we have coming in. I do believe these are primitivos, which are small bananas, but super sweet. We have some more coming in over here. And down in this area, we have another pineapple plantation. So all of those bushes are pineapples. We don't have any pineapples on them. We have one pineapple down there right now, but they make sporadically during the year. And this plant back here, let me zoom in on these flowers, are beautiful. This is in red ornamental ginger. We have it in red, pink, and white here on the property. Now I was walking through here yesterday and saw this and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So there's an epiphyte growing on these palms, a bromeliad, and it's blooming. Look at that. That is just spectacular. You never know what you're going to find out here. I mean, literally, it changes every single day. This is another mutant papaya that I planted from seed. It grew, it fell over, and it just won't quit. It produces papaya almost constantly. Here you can see we're getting ready to harvest some. This one's probably about a little less than 2 years old. Growing in my fragapani tree, which is another, let me pull this down. This is fragapani, and there's another name for it. Ugh, I'll put it in here, I can't remember. But this is another one with the exquisite smell. And I have this blue butterfly pea vine growing on it, and you can actually make tea, a blue tea, out of those. We have tons of these fragapanis. We have them in all colors. Pink, white, yellow, and every combination of those. This here, so now I'm back up at the house, but I'm gonna go down the other side of the garden path. This is a really interesting plant. This is called cranberry hibiscus, and it's completely edible and it tastes like cranberry. Absolutely delicious in a salad. Another plant that we have a ton of color varieties of is hibiscus. We probably have 60 at least hibiscus plants on the property, and probably at least 30 different colors of them. Just an exquisite flower. It grows perfectly here. And I am going to finish our tour today with this vine, which I'm so excited about. I planted it again on one of my frangipani trees because there are times of the year where they're so bare and they look like skeletons and they're not very beautiful, and I've got so many of them that I use them to like put vines on. So it works really well for this. Now this vine, and you can see the trunk of it down here, started out as a tiny cutting from a nursery in Sortova, up kind of above David a little bit, that I got it from, and I love it. It is called Dutchman's Pipe. And look at this fantastic flower it makes. This is the first year it's flowered. It's been here for almost less than 2 years on this one. And yeah, it's coming along quite nicely, and it's actually growing over into the other tree, so it's kind of taking over. This is another type of ginger that we have on the property. We have ornamental, we have torch, we have beehive, which this is, and we have shampoo. The shampoo hasn't come back yet. It's waiting for the rain. The beehive is starting to come in. Just look at that flower. So cool. And see how it makes that little flower thing on the side. Just really neat. And it's full of water. Check this out. Not so full right now because it hasn't been raining much, but it smells so good. But we have a shampoo one that smells even better. Okay, that does it for today's tour of our ornamental and food forest garden. There's so much more to show you. I could do 10 of these videos and still not cover everything. This place is amazing. Both the plants that were here before we moved and we've kind of brought back to life, and the ones that we've planted since we've been here. It's a never-ending Christmas present. You never know what you're going to wake up to around here. And if you would like to wake up and wander our gardens, click below. ojobo.com. OJO stands for the Organization of Jungle and Ocean. BIO stands for Biodiversidad, biodiversity, and that's what we're about here. Ocean and jungle biodiversity. So come on over, wander our gardens at your will, hike our trails, and discover the magic that is on this property. All right, so until next week, have a great one.